Okay, this is the P2 paper from October 2024. It's question number 10, and as we can see by looking at this, it's a coordinate geometry in the XY plane. In particular, we've got the equation of a circle here, and a little bit later we're going to be doing some work with properties of tangents and chords, tangent in particular. Let's have a look at the first part because that's relatively straightforward. It says we've got the equation of the circle written down like this, but they want us to say what the coordinates of the center and the value of the radius is, so that means I've just got to complete the square on this circle. Let's show you exactly how to do it. So A was part 1 and 2 together, I guess, but we've got x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 30y plus 209 equals 0. So it's the equation of the circle, but what I want to do is make it x minus a all squared plus y minus b all squared. So how do I do that? Well, I can call this x squared plus 4x plus y squared minus 30y plus 209 equals 0. And then what I'm going to do is complete the square on that part, complete the square on that part, and then see what we end up with. You'll have your own method for completing the square. I don't want to particularly confuse you with it. It's IGCSE. For me, I take the 4 and I half it, so I get x plus 2 squared. That gives me 2 squared too much, so I have to do that. Same idea with the y. Halving minus 30 is minus 15, so I've got y minus 15 squared, but that function would give me 15 squared too many. So I do minus 15 squared there, plus 209, and then what I can call that is x plus 2 all squared, y minus 15 all squared, and then tidying up minus 4 minus 225 plus a 209, getting all onto the other side and tidying it up, it comes to that. So what that then means is now I've got that the center of my circle is just minus 2, 15. This is x minus a, I'm not going to keep this, but x minus a squared, y minus b squared equals r squared here, isn't it? I'm not going to keep that in there because it's getting in the way of the answer, but that means that a is equal to minus 2, b is equal to 15, and in a minute r is going to be root 20. Well, that's part 2. Center is equal to that. The radius is simply equal to root 20, and what does it ask me for in terms of the exact value of root 20? So root 20, stick that into your calculator, that's 2 root 5 as the answer for those two parts. Okay, so part 1 and part 2 done. It then says line L has the equation y equals mx plus 1. Okay, so that's a straight line, passes through the point 0, 1. And L is a tangent to C. So if it's a tangent to C, when it meets it, we'll create a quadratic equation. And when we get the quadratic equation, if it's a tangent, b squared minus 4ac will be equal to 0. There'll be just one repeated solution for it. So what I can now do with this, at least I know what I've got to do with this for part B. It's going to take me a little bit of time. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I've got the line y equals mx plus 1, and I've got the circle x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 30y plus 209 equals 0. What I'm going to do is put them equal to each other. So if I'm going to put them equal to each other, I'm going to end up with x squared plus, and then just call this mx plus 1 squared. 4x, call this mx plus 1 here, plus 209 equals 0. And now I've got to tidy all this up, which is going to take me a little bit of time. So just be careful with it. This is x squared, mx plus 1 all squared. You take your time over this. I'm not going to, just because of the length of the video, but mx plus 1 times mx plus 1 will give me m squared x squared. It'll give me 2mx, and then it'll give me 1. Have my 4x, have my minus 30 mx, have my minus 30, and keep my 209 here. And now what I need to do is to tidy all this up and make it into quadratic. So for a quadratic with the x squareds, what have I got? I've got m squared plus 1 lots of x squared here. I'm doing this relatively quickly, simply for the length of the video. For the x's, I've got 4x minus 28mx. So I'm going to write that as 4 minus 28m x there. And the numbers will all cancel out to plus 180. Now, why did I write it like this? Because I wanted x squareds, x's, and a number here, ax squared plus bx plus c, because I know that it's a tangent. And if it's tangent, it means there's just one point where it meets as a repeated solution. So let's tell the examiner that I know that. So because y equals mx plus 1 is a tangent, we have one repeated root, or in other words, we have b squared minus 4ac equals 0. And the b squared minus 4ac is what I just had, a, b, and c here, and I need to do b squared minus 4ac. So when I do b squared minus 4ac, b is 4 minus 28m squared minus 4 lots of m squared plus 1 and 180s. Now remember, we know what we're trying to get to because they told me the answer. So let's just do all this. Again, I'm going to go really quickly with this, but 4 minus 28m times 4 minus 28m. You take your time over it, but I've already done this. So not very nice numbers at all. You might be thinking you're going completely wrong here, but luckily they give me the final answer, so I can just check this. And even 4m squared plus 1 times 180, that's going to give me minus 720m squared, and it's going to give me minus 720 equals 0. So when I tidy that all up, that actually comes to 64m squared minus 224m minus 704 equals 0. And I say, you're thinking, oh my goodness, I've got this completely wrong. But actually, if we divide everything by 32, thankfully, we actually end up with what we were trying to show, which is 2m squared minus 7m minus 22 equals 0. So that's a real example of a question here where they're just testing your patience and your resilience, obviously your algebraic skills as well, but to go all the way through to get to that final part. And then part C, what does part C say? So it says, okay, yeah, what are the actual values of P? What can the coordinates be? Well, that'll be solving the equation, won't it? So let's solve the equation. So solving the equation, 2m squared minus 7m minus 22 equals 0. Absolutely, you can put it into the quadratic formula. You can try and factorize it using the AC method. I've got that on other parts of my channel if you want to go away and do it. I'm doing it quickly because I say the length of this video is already pretty long. We get that m equals 11 over 2, or we get that m equals minus 2. So what that's telling me then are the two possibilities that I can have and put back into this equation up here now, with m being equal to 11 over 2 or m being equal to the minus 2, and we'll get the two equations which we'll be able to solve. So let's do that. If we put m equals 11 over 2, and again I'm going to take a little bit of a shortcut here, if m is equal to 11 over 2, then what it means is I'm putting that into m squared plus 1 x squared plus 4 minus 28m x plus 180 equals 0, that if we put m equals 11 over 2 into that, we get 125 over 4x squared minus 150x plus 180 is equal to 0. And at that stage, tidy it all up, multiply everything by 4. I get 125x squared, I get minus 600x plus 720 equals 0. And now solve that either using the quadratic formula or by factorising it. The one thing we do know is it's going to be a perfect square. So it actually factorises to that, or solving it using the quadratic formula, it comes to that. So we get x equals 12 over 5. And if I get x equals 12 over 5 and put that back into y, we get that y works out to be 71 over 5. And a lot of work here because that's only for the m equals 11 over 2. What about if m equals minus 2? Well, I'm going to put it into the same equation again. This time the equation I get, and again you can see I'm rushing pretty much with this now, works out to be 5x squared plus 60x plus 180 equals 0, which will give me, if we divide everything by 5, x squared plus 12x plus 36 equals 0. So that's x plus 6 all squared this time. Again, another perfect square it needs to be. And that would give me x equals minus 6, and then y from that works out to be equal to minus 13. So we have those two possibilities for our pairs of answers going through and doing that. Sorry, is equal to 13, not minus 13. So yeah, looking at that, that's a long question. There's lots of algebra involved, but it is question 10. So it is question 10 out of 11. It's okay that we'll just try and get as many marks as we can from that. That's relatively straightforward. Maybe getting halfway through that and then solving that would mean you would get some marks. But hopefully my explanation, if very long, makes sense.